Welcome to the deep dive. All right, let's dive straight into a truly unique stack of sources today. We're cracking open excerpts from Barbara Park's hilarious children's book, Junie B. Jones, Smells Something Fishy.
That's right.
Our mission in this deep dive, well, it's to follow Junie B's chaotic, determined, and ultimately surprising journey to find the perfect pet for her school's pet day. And, see what we can learn along the way.
Exactly. Our source is this narrative told straight from the um, very distinct perspective of a kindergartner, Junie B. Jones herself. So you're getting her unfiltered thoughts, her big feelings, all her adventures really, centered around this one very important event, Pet Day.
And diving into this, it might seem a little different for us, but trust us, there's gold here. It's actually a fantastic shortcut to understanding not just the story, but the insights it offers, things like navigating rules, problem solving creatively.
Even when it's a little misguided.
Right. And how we define things, like pet, from different points of view. We're here basically to guide you through the most important nuggets from Junie B's quest.
Okay, so let's unpack this adventure. It all kicks off with some pretty exciting news at school, right? Mrs., their teacher, announces it's National Pet Week, and Room 9 is going to have Pet Day.
Instant kindergartner joy. I mean, Junie B is over the moon celebrating wildly about Pet Day coming. But that excitement, it hits a wall almost immediately because Mrs. lays down the law with some pretty specific rules.
And these rules are absolutely key to understanding Junie B's whole challenge. Dogs and cats? Nope, not allowed to come to school. You can only bring a picture of them for a bulletin board.
Yeah.
The only animals allowed in person at school have to be caged animals.
Yeah, so this is where Junie B's world starts to kind of crumble. Her immediate enthusiastic plan is to bring her beloved dog, Tickle. She even pictures him in a dog cage. But Mrs. shuts that down hard. No dogs, no cats, caged or otherwise, just pictures.
You can almost hear her hopes just shattering. Shoot, she says, because bringing a picture, quote, isn't even fun. And this really contrasts with her friends, doesn't it?
It does. Grace has Slicky the goldfish, and a fishbowl counts as a cage, so Slicky gets to come. Lucky Grace.
Right. And then there's Lucille, who's bringing a picture of her pony, but she's mostly excited about showing off her fancy riding outfit.
So while everyone else is figuring out their plan B, Junie B is just devastated. Lucille keeps poking her, all excited, and Junie B's response is pure gloom. She literally ends up putting her head down on her table, covering herself with her arms.
And stays there until the end of the day.
Yeah. That level of disappointment, specifically over not bringing her real dog, it really sets the stage for her determination, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It highlights her singular focus. She wants to bring her pet, the one she loves, the real Tickle, not some picture. So her quest for a rule-abiding pet begins right after school when Grandma Miller visits.
Grandma Miller walks in, takes one look, and instantly knows Junie B is having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Junie B basically shoves the rules paper at her, complaining, "Where's the justice here, Helen?"
Heh. Though Grandma gently reminds her about the name, right? But Grandma gets it. She understands the disappointment about Tickle. And she suggests, well, maybe you need to think about a different pet if you want to bring something real to school.
And this sparks the idea of finding another pet, one already in the house, which leads Junie B to reveal her big secret. She hates the family canary, Twitter.
And why does she hate Twitter? Because he picked her finger.
Which sounds fair, right? Except
Grandma points out that Junie B did put a potato on his head, calling it a hat. Grandma even says she would have pecked her too. It's such a perfect Junie B detail, that disconnect between her actions and the outcome.
it really is. So Twitter's out. Junie B asks Lee if Grandma has any hidden pets. And Grandma, looking at the rules about caged animals, laughs and makes a joke. A very fateful joke about catching the crazy old raccoon that keeps breaking into our garbage can every night.
Okay, and here's where Junie B's literal thinking just takes off. She doesn't hear joke at all. She hears raccoon, catch, pet day, bam.
Saturday morning, she is ready. Finds her dad's fishing net, the one with the long handle for safety. She notes and announces she's off to catch the raccoon for school. Because Grandma Miller said she could.
Oh boy, and her mother's reaction is exactly what you expect, a very firm N-O, no. Explaining raccoons are wild, sharp claws, teeth.
But Junie B is just as firm, stamps her foot back. Yes, yes. She's absolutely convinced because in her world, Grandma is the boss of Mother.
That whole exchange is brilliant. It shows how kids process information so literally, and their understanding of family hierarchy too. It's a good reminder for us, isn't it? Be clear. Assumptions about kidding or who's the boss can lead to, well, raccoon hunts.
Thankfully, Grandma Miller arrives right then and clarifies, no, that was just kidding. Junie B's upset, of course, feeling misunderstood. But then Grandma offers an alternative. How about a baby earthworm?
And Junie B's reaction is instantaneous and vocal. Yay! Yuck, it's a worm.
Her list of reasons why worms are terrible pets is just classic kid logic. Ooey gooey skin, no fur, no eyes, no ears, legs, tails, feet, necks. And they don't even make animal sounds.
Grandma tries a different angle, you know? Selling the worm based on what it doesn't do. It won't wake up the neighbors or sniff the company or scratch himself silly. Basically, a very low-maintenance pet.
Still, Junie B isn't buying it. Not yet. And this is where Mother's approach is so interesting. She doesn't argue, she just acts. Finds a jar, pokes holes, adds dirt, a rock, a stick, some greens.
And she does it gently, talking softly to the worm.
You don't even know where you are, she says. That care, that nurturing.
It starts to soften Junie B, doesn't it? Even though she still insists, I do not like him one single bit.
Yeah.
Plus, they discover the ultimate worm perk. They eat dirt, no feeding required.
Which Mother immediately points out is the best part about worms. Huge advantage.
So the worm is officially housed. Junie B watches him burrow down. And then she has a realization. He needs a name. How else will he know she's talking to him? Right. After some thought, she lands on Noodle. Because, as she says, worms and noodles are twins, practically.
That name, that's the turning point, isn't it? He's not just a worm anymore. He's her noodle.
Exactly. And once Noodle has an identity, a new problem crops up in Junie B's mind. He must be lonely down there in the dirt. He needs friends, which naturally leads to her next creative phase.
Phase 2. Operation Populate the Jar. She heads outside trying to catch potential friends. Butterfly, nope. Grasshopper, cricket, gnat, lizard, all would not cooperate. She feels like a flop at friend catching.
But her persistence pays off in a very Junie B sort of way. She finds ants carrying a cheese puff.
Oh, yeah.
And a fly lands on her sleeve. Success. She manages to capture both, drops the ants, cheese puff and all, and the fly right into the jar with Noodle. She even notes the fly did not even die that much when she swatted it into the jar.
She is absolutely thrilled. She thinks she's cracked it. Multiple pets for pet day. She does a happy dance. It's this pure moment of triumph, achieved through sheer unconventional thinking.
It's fascinating how she constructs this little ecosystem based entirely on her goal. But the reality of ant and fly keeping sets in pretty fast. Later, she checks the jar again. Noodle, still hiding. The ants, they are the cheese puff, presumably busy eating it.
And the fly.
Buzzy the swatted fly bit the dust.
Ha! That line, Buzzy the swatted fly bit the dust, is just peak Junie B. So yeah, she's depressed. Her little pet habitat didn't quite work out. And the disappointments, well, they just keep rolling in.
Next up, Grandma Miller returns from fishing with the ice chest. And inside, a giant largemouth bass she caught. Junie B is immediately fascinated by his shiny skin, names him Sparkle.
And starts talking to him. Want to swim? She asks the dead fish. Instantly decides he's perfect for pet day. Way better than my pet jar. Notes he's a chubby one and needs transportation.
Which leads to maybe the most vivid image in the whole story. She spots Tickle's dog leash, puts it over Sparkle's head, and starts dragging the dead fish around the kitchen floor.
Finds he's slided as easy as pie.
Of course, Mother walks in on this scene and puts a very firm stop to it, gently explaining, Sparkle is dead. Pet day is for live pets.
But Junie B goes right back to her rule-based logic. How come is it in the rules? And when Mother admits, well, no, it's not explicitly written.
Junie B concludes, see, I can take him, leading to Mother's perfectly understandable, exasperated reaction.
It really underscores that whole theme of rules and interpretation, doesn't it? Especially when a kid is looking for any loophole they can find.
Definitely. Then, adding insult to injury, after her bath, she discovers Grandma Miller took Sparkle home. Stole him, she cries. But Mother has to explain, well, Grandma caught the fish. It was hers.
And then the final, really heartbreaking blow to her live pet options comes Monday morning. Grandpa Miller is over. He notices the ants still in the noodle jar.
Junie B takes a closer look and makes a truly grim discovery the ants are carrying bits of Buzzy the swatted fly's body.
Oh my gosh, it's so darkly hilarious from her perspective. So she chases the ants out, naturally. But in doing so, she realizes the dirt and Noodle, they're gone from the jar.
A frantic search in the grass outside turns up nothing. Noodle is officially lost forever.
So let's recap the rapid-fire disasters. Dog denied. Raccoon idea was a joke. Worm reluctantly accepted, then lost. Dead fish confiscated. It's official. Pet day is completely ruined.
Absolute despair sets in. She's crying on her bed. Grandpa tries his best to help, even taping pictures of Tickle onto cardboard for her.
And Junie B's response is just so resigned. You did your best, old man. Oh, poor Grandpa.
They head to the kitchen looking for orange juice, spirits clearly very low. Grandpa even checks the freezer just in case.
And this is the moment. The ultimate plot twist. As Grandpa moves aside some frozen vegetables, Junie B sees something that makes her shout, Grandpa Miller, do you see what I see? Her heart almost stopped breathing.
It's not juice. It's not a pet in any traditional sense. It's a single frozen fish stick.
And in Junie B's mind, despair instantly evaporates, replaced by pure joy and absolute certainty.
She names him right there. Fish stick, because he's the fish stick, of course. And that's it. Decision made. This will be her pet for pet day. She pops him right into her backpack.
What a magnificent, completely unexpected solution. Found in the freezer, it just completely turns the whole idea of what a pet is supposed to be on its head.
And this leads to the big day itself, bringing fish stick to pet day. Room 9 is buzzing, with the expected pets. Bullfrog, bunny, parrot, hamster, lizards, lots of photos.
You've got Meanie Jim with his rooster, threatening everyone. Lucille is there, still beaming about her riding outfit and pony picture.
Then it's Junie B's turn to present. And she doesn't hold back. She gives the entire saga. The forbidden raccoon, the stole starkle, the lost noodle, the hunt for orange juice, and finally, the glorious discovery of fish stick in the freezer.
The reaction from the class. Priceless. First, silence. Then, sudden laughter. Jim, predictably, calls her a Goonie bird and shouts the obvious, fish sticks are dinner!
And Junie B feels that shrinking feeling again, very shrinking inside. But she stands her ground, sticking to her logic. Fish sticks must be pets because they are fish, and fish are pets. It makes perfect sense to her.
And this is where Mrs. the teacher really shines. Faced with this, highly unconventional pet, she doesn't just dismiss it, she goes to an external authority.
The dictionary.
Looks up pet, reads the definition aloud. Any tamed animal that is kept as a companion.
Okay, here we go. This is the crux. How does a frozen fish stick fit tamed animal kept as a companion? Junie B's defense is just masterful kid logic. Is fish stick tamed?
Yes, very, very tame, she argues. He won't even peck your head into a nub, which, compared to Twitter the Canary, is a definite plus.
And is he a good companion?
Absolutely. He can go more places than my dog, fits right in her backpack, and crucially, doesn't even say a peep. She's brilliantly using the dictionary definition to argue her unique case. And Mrs., applying that formal definition to this totally unexpected situation, delivers the verdict. She shakes Junie B's hand and declares, according to the dictionary, fish stick is definitely a pet.
And then gives fish stick pride of place on the pet table, right next to Slicky, the live goldfish. It's such a clever move by Mrs. Fratchimer. She uses the rules, the definition, to validate Junie B's perspective and her whole chaotic journey. It wasn't just about bringing an animal, it was about the spirit of companionship, seen through a kid's eyes and confirmed by an adult using the tools available.
And pet day isn't quite over yet, is it? There's still some chaos to come. The bullfrog croaks.
Which makes Slicky the goldfish jump, which makes the rooster crow, which makes Slippers the bunny thump his foot and bolt from his cage.
Leading to the entire class chasing this rabbit around the room until Mrs. finally sweeps him up in the trash can. The source calls it the excitingest adventure room 9 ever even had. Just pure classroom mayhem.
The perfect climax before the grand finale.
Yeah.
The ribbon ceremony.
Yeah.
All the pets get awards, right? Like screechiest rooster.
Talkiest pirate Pete the parrot. Bubbliest Slicky the goldfish. Most rascally rabbit for Slippers after his escape.
And Fish Stick, our frozen hero. He receives the absolute perfect, most wonderfully ironic ribbon. Most well-behaved.
Ah. Junie B's reaction is just pure, unadulterated joy. She gasps, shakes Mrs. hand again, calls it the proudest honor I ever imagined. Mrs. just laughs, tells Junie B she made her day, and gives her a big hug. It's such a perfect, triumphant end to her wild quest.
And it's worth mentioning the author, Barbara Park, includes a note at the end. She says she never actually had a pet day as a kid, but imagined one. She talks about her own experience with a very independent, maybe not so cuddly cat named Pudgy.
Right.
And notes that having that cat is the reason she later got a dog. It kind of echoes Junie B's journey, doesn't it? Sometimes the companions we have are the ones we seek. They lead us down unexpected paths, and our definition of a relationship with a pet can be incredibly personal and unique.
Wow. So looking back at Junie B's whole Odyssey, from the initial heartbreak over her dog through, rejected worms, confiscated dead fish, lost bugs, near total despair. She somehow lands on her perfect pet day companion in the freezer aisle, basically.
It really is a fantastic illustration of sheer persistence and incredibly creative problem solving. Even when the solution seemed completely off the wall, she just didn't give up after multiple setbacks. She kept looking for something, anything that could possibly fit the bill.
Exactly. And it brings us back to you, the listener, and how you might navigate information or challenges. Sometimes the best solution isn't the most obvious one. It might be hiding in an unexpected place, or maybe it comes from applying existing rules or definitions in a slightly different, creative way, just like Mrs. did with the dictionary definition.
Yeah, it's a great reminder that being well-informed isn't just about knowing the standard facts. It's also about seeing how those facts or rules or definitions can be applied creatively, sometimes leading to surprising and maybe even funny outcomes.
This whole dive really makes you think about categories, doesn't it? How strictly do we define things in our own lives? What happens when we try to apply standard definitions to, well, unconventional situations, like a fish stick as a pet?
And maybe it prompts you to think what seemingly ordinary things are around you right now that might actually qualify as something else entirely if you looked at them through a slightly different lens.
Perhaps using the definition of companion, or maybe treasure, or even just most well-behaved. Something to ponder.